Done. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Good Saturday. So we got the weekend here. I'll wait a few minutes for some people to come in. These are some funny ass episodes. In horror news, I will have a review out for Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2, which took forever to get through that movie. So many times. What's up, Cal? Happy Saturday. How you doing? Yeah, it took me forever to get through Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey too. And it wasn't the movie. It was just every time I went to start it, I'd get distracted or I'd fall asleep. It took like 5 tries to watch that movie. It was entertaining. So I'll have a review out on that later. And this other indie Lovecraft movie that somebody sent me, the distribution company reached out. It was all right. Wasn't great, wasn't bad. JTsHorror. I like it. I can take it. You gonna watch some South Park? You're just hanging. The most fun thing to do on a Saturday morning. Butter's very first episode. I put the stream link in. Should be like right above your comments. This episode's hilarious. You remember the JonBenet Ramsey case back in the day? And the girl got kidnapped, murdered. Everyone thought it was her parents. They go hard on them, O.J. Simpson, and like one other guy, some senator. I always forget his name. But man, it's funny. I loved The Simpsons, like middle school, to early high school. Once the movie came out, that's when the quality dropped like hard. And then I kind of stopped watching it. But the early, like first 10 seasons or so are fucking classic. But I was big into The Simpsons. I used to collect like the World of Springfield figurines with the play sets that they talk when you put them on them and stuff. I used to have like all of those. It's such a great show. It sucks that it went downhill as much as it has. I will be right back. I'm going to the bathroom. I'll let some more people come in here, then I will start this. Alrighty. Hey, what's up, Jason? Ginger Ninja in the house. I never know what time it is where you at. I know you're like, even further than our British friends. So I'm always just assuming like my nighttime, you're awake into like early morning. I'm going to wait a few minutes just because I know some people wanted to make it to this if they woke up, which I'll be honest, I'm surprised I'm awake and made it to this myself. I got my upstate with my daughter. She's fucking a riot. But I was exhausted. I finally finished Winnie the Pooh. Oh, I'll have a video on that. It's all right. There's a kill in that movie. That's fantastic. Like I was almost clapping when I saw the kill in that movie. But the story is very weird and feels like it's just there because there was none in the first movie and you couldn't even tell the characters apart, all the women, except for like looking at their breast size. That was the only way to differentiate them. So they tried exploring like Christopher Robin a little more. Yeah, it's all right. The kills were pretty good though. Just after midnight. There you go. It's like 16 hours, some crazy shit. You're like in a new day sometimes when we're still like a day behind. Let me know if you guys can hear this. Hear the dialogue. Picked up on the last time, but I realized I doubt it. Yeah, it was it was fun. That's pretty much it. What's up, Mike? How you doing, brother? Yeah, the first Winnie the Pooh was for what it was, for just like a Winnie the Pooh slasher film and Winnie and Piglet running around killing people. It's fine for what it was. That's kind of what like I'm leaning with the criticism of the sequel. Like I said, like with Terrifier too. Like they tried to broaden the scope and do more character development and try to make more of a story because the first film didn't really have one. I feel like this though, this movie, a killer Winnie the Pooh going around and stuff with Tigger and all them, you basically just want the kills. I don't give a shit about the story they're going off on. Then, like, when he turns out being like Christopher Robin's brother, and there was genetic experiments with animals on missing kids, and it goes so out there. The story to this movie. Yeah, I heard that, Mike. I actually heard that from many people that it's actually very, very good. So I will be downloading that shit tonight. Even if I didn't know that, because I'm looking for something actually good to watch from this year. Night Swim sucked. Imaginary, I got to still see too, which I heard that sucked also. All right, I'm gonna just start this episode and watch it, and then people wake up, they can get a timestamp because I got limited time here. But yeah, I heard that it's very good. I'm working on my top kills horror video. It's all edited clips and shit. I was trying to think of whether I'll actually rank them, and then I thought to myself, it's gonna be so hard to rank like all these kills and stuff like that, except for like my top favorites. So now I'm just like kind of putting them in any order that kind of flows towards my favorites. And I just gotta like record a few things for that. So that should be out like tomorrow, probably. This whole song with Butters is hysterical. Yeah, I heard that too. I heard it was absolutely terrible. They're not doing good, man. Blumhouse and James Wan and stuff recently, they've been misses for me with everything. Except for Megan, which and even that took like a second watch for me to appreciate. This song just goes on and on with Butters. Everyone knows it's Butters. That's me. That's literally the song. He's so excited to eat at Bennigan's. Fun JT fact, my first job ever when I was 16 years old was being a busboy at Bennigan's, which was right by my house. Closed down like 20 years ago. So I know the hype of Bennigan's like Butters here. Yeah, Megan was fun. Like I said, it took like a second watch, like and really because the tone threw me off because I don't watch trailers and shit, but that you couldn't ignore because the hype was everywhere, and with the dance scene and stuff, like you could not hide from spoilers for that movie. So I was thinking it would be a lot more serious, and then when it gets more like ridiculous and more comedy in it than anything, it kind of threw me off the first time. I was like, "Are you serious? Like this is where we're going with that?" After I knew what to expect, though, and I rewatched it, that's when I kind of liked it a lot more. But the first time it was jarring with the tone. The movie that I was sent by the distribution company, she's like associate producer for this indie film, Older Gods. She sent it to me like 2 months ago. And I said, yeah, I'll do a video on it. And then I completely forgot about it. So then, like, she reached out again the other day. And I said, oh, yeah, I forgot all about this. So I threw it on last night after I finally finished Winnie the Pooh 2. It's all right. It's pretty good. Like, story wise, the acting's iffy. It's like a Lovecraftian type movie, but not really. It's very tame. It's not even really a horror film. I wouldn't really consider it. It's more of like a thriller that deals with grief like real heavily. Hey, Liv, how you doing? Hope you're having a good morning. I'm on my third cup of coffee, probably. So Butters follows his father to try to see what he's getting his mom for their anniversary, and he follows his dad to a fucking like gay club. And then he goes in and sees him, and so he's describing to his mom. He's like, "Yeah, I went into this club, and then he was wrestling with these guys and stuff, and they were all naked." The mom's freaking out. She's like going nuts. Oh, it's hysterical. He took pictures. They're fucking in like this gay like club or something, and he thinks they're wrestling and stuff. Oh, it's so funny. This is the first episode where Butters, well, obviously, it's titled his very own episode. You saw him a few times before this, but this is where he really shined. And, Butters is just so great. Besides Cartman and Randy, especially as the seasons and the years went on, Randy just became hilarious. Butters is like my third favorite right after those two. Two pre-release streamers to watch: Desperation with Nuggets and then Corner Office with John Hamm. Nice. I haven't seen a movie with Mel Gibson, like a recent movie, and I don't even know how long. Since like he got into all that trouble and shit. That was probably the last time I ever saw like a newer film with him. Everyone loves Butters, and everyone knows it's Butters. She's painting the wall green. It's already painted. It looks fine. And she's just like, paint. She's losing her mind, going nuts. And this kid just wants to go to bed. This kid, Butters, gets fucked over more than anybody in this show. This kid gets screwed over, and he's the only like nice, innocent kid in the show. And he gets screwed over at every turn. You feel so bad for this kid. Now he's in he's in the bathhouse and he's wearing a towel. Doesn't he like run into Garrison in here? Yeah. He runs into Mr. Garrison. That's me. It's too funny. So good. He walks in on his dad jerking off in the bed. That's too funny. Oh, gee, fellas. I love when he sings. What the hell's the band? I forget but the song he sings. He sings like, I got apples. Woo, woo, woo. He like sings like the funniest songs to himself. Little white lies. Oh, that's funny. He says sometimes it's all right to tell a white lie, like when you find your father jacking off in a gay man's bathhouse. That's too funny. I already told Bob she's fine. Tweak is great too, and Tweak and Craig, like the whole thing they did with them later on. Yeah, the underpants, the underpants those. They got peppermint schnapps breath. I love the whole Pet Cemetery riff that they do in this episode. That she thinks that she kills him when he comes back, and they blame it on some Mexican. They're like, it was some Mexican guy. That's too funny. Or Puerto Rican. That's what it is. If you think about it, his very first episode, yeah, his mom killed him, almost killed him. Just drives him into the water. Are you still doing 2-for-1 burritos? If someone knows that reference, I'll be very happy. It did go down a little in quality after when they started doing like the over arcs like throughout the whole season and the continuity and shit. Like when they became serialized for like 3 seasons, that it went down a bit. But I still feel like they haven't made like a bad episode ever. In the 27, 26 years I've been watching this show since this first started, I don't think they made a bad episode. There's always at least 3 or 4 things that make me hysterical laugh in every single episode. Remember the internet? Remember Windows 95? That's funny. She drops the bomb that he killed her son, but he's alive. Kind of reminds me of the episode Margarine later on when they dress Butters as a girl to go into the slumber party to try to get the little paper game that you go like this and tell the fortune. And they throw a pig carcass that's dressed up like Butters to fake his death, and like his parents are freaking out. That's too funny. Man, this voice, I forget who did the voice acting for most of the women in the early episodes. She passed away, I'm pretty sure. But Butters' mom's voice acting here, it's kind of like an early version of Tony Collette's breakdown in Hereditary. She's really killing it with this. Like, I just want to die. Butters is floating down the stream in the car. That's too funny. Yeah, the Warcraft one is great. I think that won an award for best animation because I mean that was groundbreaking. The way they really made it. I was never a Warcraft fan, but I had friends who were big into it and knew other people who played it, so I was familiar with it. They really captured the whole look of Warcraft. Like they did a great job. Oh yeah, absolutely. Megan, aka Child's Play 2019 remake. I hate that remake. I really do. I just consider it not part of the franchise. What did the kid? Yeah, what did the kidnapper look? They're all like news reporters there. She looks crazed out of her mind. Her hair's all fucked up. Some Puerto Rican guy. He spoke Puerto Rican. Oh, that's great. Butters got a lift from some trucker. He still wants to get to Bennigan's. He still thinks he's going and everything's fine. Yeah, I don't like the remake at all, Cal. That's like the one thing in the Child's Play franchise, I don't even consider it that I just don't like. It's all right. It's not like It's not a terrible film. I just don't like it. Brad Dourif, as good as Mark Hamill is, an amazing voice actor and actor that he is, he's just one of those. Same with the Nightmare remake. Like I feel like nobody can play Freddy except for Anglin, and it's the same with Brad Dourif. Like that's just Chucky for me. Yeah, Audrey Plaza is one of the best things about that movie. Aubrey Plaza is very, very cute. The kid did a good job too as Andy. There's some positives. I can always give positives to a movie for the most part. They have Butters on the phone with the cop. He calls. He's like, "Are you part of this investigation?" It's like, "No." It's like, "Are you Puerto Rican?" He says, "No," and the cop hangs up. He says, "We got to keep this line clear. Call back tomorrow." Oh, now they bring in the Ramses. So funny. This episode has one of the greatest endings to an episode of South Park. When they're pointing and they're panning the camera and lingering on the Ramses, like during the whole I learned something today, and the father saying, like, they would look at us and point, liar. And they're zooming up on OJ, the Ramses and Gary, whatever, the senator. So funny. That's brutal. The only kill I really remember from the remake is the one with the guy in like the basement when he tries to fix Chucky, and the woman who gets like the car gets controlled by Chucky and crashes into something. That's how little I remember that movie. I've seen it twice though. I did give it a rewatch. There's a lot of cool stuff they can do with Freddy still. They can go in totally different directions from where they've been in the past. It's just like if they're willing to take that risk and do that instead of just give us the same exact shit. I think they did. I remember the John Benet Ramsey case like pretty well. Like I was young, but I remember most of like it going on, and then they were accused. Then like after a while, the son, John Benet's brother, was like the main suspect, and they thought he did it. So either the parents did it and covered it up, or the son did it, and then they covered up his crime. That's what happened. There was no random crime or anything like that. He talked to the FBI, and some Puerto Rican guy has made the FBI's top of the most wanted list. You just picture the FBI headquarters with a pinup board with the top most wanted criminals, and it's just a Puerto Rican guy. And there's O.J. Simpson. Always great when he graces the screen. That's right. We get the Freaks reference. Freaks from 32. Gooble gobble, gooble gobble. Yeah, it's because people aren't happy either way. That's the biggest issue with sequels. If you do the same thing, then people are going to say they want something different. And if you do something totally different, they're going to bitch and say, it's too different. I want the same shit as the first one. I think that's why a lot of my favorite entries in franchises are like the second movie or a sequel, because it does take some chance and to be different from the first movie. Like Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2 is my favorite. Texas Chainsaw 2, Sleepaway Camp 2, Slumber Party Massacre 2, Nightmare on Elm Street 2. There's a lot of second entries that are my favorite. And I think it's because that has a big reason to do with that. It's just that they're totally different and took chances. I mean, if you consider Day of the Dead a sequel, like even though they're not, I don't really see them set in the same world. I guess so. I mean, that's my like top 5 film. So that would be one. Evil Dead 2, even though I don't really consider that a sequel either. Yeah, I adore Texas Chainsaw too. I mean, I did a top 40 list like at 5 in the morning. Like, try to figure out your top 40 movies of all time at 5 in the morning. It's not a good idea. So I tried and I forgot I left off Opera from Argento off my top 10, which is insane. So I knew I was going to forget one already. But I didn't have Texas Chainsaw on there. I had Texas Chainsaw 2. If it was a top 50, though, Texas Chainsaw, the original, would be on there because I think that movie's a masterpiece, too. Yeah, Phantasm 2 is another one. I do not like aliens at all. That was something that shocked Mike and Dave. I think it was on a stream with them, and it just came out. Come up, we came out with aliens, and I said I've never seen aliens. I'm not really a big sci-fi person, so they were shocked. So I watched it, like the director's cut. It's like 2 hours or something. The writing is awful in that movie. I'm sorry, the writing is so bad. There's some fun stuff, but I would never watch that film again. And I have no emotional connection to it. I didn't grow up watching it. It was before me a little bit, so I don't know. That one did not did not do well with me. Yeah, it's same. The Crow I've never been into. I don't even remember the original movie. I think I've seen it once, maybe twice, and maybe that time was 15 years ago. So I have no interest in the remake or any investment in that. I like with Winnie the Pooh. Like I don't think I've ever seen an episode of Winnie the Pooh ever. It's just not my thing. I was a Sesame Street kid when I was real little. Never saw Winnie the Pooh, so I don't have that emotional investment of my childhood with Winnie, and people are bitching that they made him into a killer and shit. I really couldn't care less. Yeah, this that thing is so, it's so funny. Oh, they are just they go so viciously hard on the Ramses and OJ. They're showing OJ, this murderer. Oh, it's great. I'm surprised they got away with this back then. Oh, that's so fucking funny. I had to turn the volume up. Too funny. That is one of the best endings. Oh, you can stay. I don't care about Scream. I hate the I hate Scream. Like I used to just despise the series, but now like from doing the channel the last almost 2 years and hearing and more about it and seeing notifications all the time, I hate it. I hate that series so much. The original has some stuff I do think is great. Besides that, I could not care less about that. I wish that franchise ended with the first movie. So I wouldn't have to hear about it ever again. I did enjoy six though. Some ideas that they had in six, and I feel if they used those ideas in the original, I would have liked it maybe like at least a little bit better than I do, but they didn't. And just six was not good either. All right, now what is the season for this next episode? City Sushi. That's what this one is. So this is another Butters episode actually, where Butters has split personality disorder because he plays pretend in the backyard as a truck driver and an investigator. This episode's another favorite. I gotta look up which freaking season it's in. I purposely left off the fourth episode that we'll watch just to make it, because I knew it would rule the poll if I put a poll up. Like it would slaughter anything else I put up against it. So every time Trey Parker does a Japanese accent in South Park, I die. Like, his Japanese is just too funny. All right. Yeah, 15th season, episode 6. Take care, Ginge. I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Get some sleep. I'll drop a link if anyone wants to watch along. This one is hysterical. I can hear my daughter. My mom got up. City Sushi, I'll drop a link. Usually I'd watch these on HBO Max, but my Max just ran out and I didn't feel like renewing it right now. Especially when I can watch most of the shit on Look Movie. There are 3 movies that I really want to see, like newer releases. One is Last Night with the Devil, which I've heard great things about. Um, The First Omen, because I've heard great things about that too from people I very heavily trust their opinions. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I think The Omen is such an underrated movie, even though it's considered a classic. You don't hear it brought up as often as it should be, like with the other like epic horror movies like Psycho and The Exorcist and Halloween, The Thing, etc. You don't hear The Omen brought up as much, and especially the trilogy. Like the first 3 Omens are fucking fantastic. The fourth one, not so much. This one, though, is supposed to be really good. That'll be 4 for 5. 4 out of 5 good ones. I like how they turn this. What the hell is his name in the show? It's something Asian. I know that. What is it? Mr. Chen or something like that. I don't know how they just turn him into like this white dude at the end, and he's been a character for mad long on the show. I know people who like Scream 3, like and hold it up like pretty high compared to the others. It's Japanese. I love how they can't understand each other. The Chinese guy and the Japanese can't understand each other because their accents. That's how I feel with Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2, which is like a comfort film of mine and a favorite movie of mine, which gets hate all over the place. But we do exist. There's dozens of us, dozens. There are fans of Books of Shadows out there. I feel like there's more over the years too. Amityville 2 is better than the original for me. I love Amityville 2. And that's like where the Amityville series ends for me. I've never watched past 3D, and I really have no intent to. The remake I don't care for either, but the first 2 are classics, but I do like the second one the best. The effects are just great in that. It's so weird and the whole crazy shit with the incest with the brother and sister and the everything is fucking weird in that movie. And it's directed by an Italian guy, so I mean it makes sense. Like when you know that, all of it makes a lot more sense. Like, oh, okay. So it's kind of like an Italian take on Amityville. Yeah, it was more of just because you had Ryan Reynolds there, and he always makes me laugh. So just like him going nuts, it didn't work. It just made me laugh a lot of the time. Oh yeah, that's what makes the world go around. That's what I love about doing YouTube and talking these movies. Everybody like the same shit. It'll be boring as hell. We'd just be like, "Oh yeah, I love that shit. Yeah, me too. I don't like this. Me too." All right, so what are we talking about now? They're calling it Little Tokyo, and it's two restaurants. It's just a Chinese place and it's a sushi place, and it's Little Tokyo. They still don't know what they're talking about to each other because of their accents. I've only seen the remake. Yeah, the first two are definitely worth watching for sure. He's playing in the backyard, Butters, as a truck driver. The mom says now he thinks he's a truck driver. Starts crying. They think he has freaking multiple personality disorder. Oh yeah, it happens all the time. Happens to everybody with different opinions. I always say, and I've been saying since day one, my channel ain't for everybody. Like, absolutely not. Between my different opinions, my dark sense of humor and sarcasm and shit, and how I nitpick movies, I have a very niche audience, which I'm fine with. Two hot takes. Hmm. Let me think about that. Kind of helps that like Netflix is like on the loading screen on the TV and it's like going like it pans just through like movies. So like Freddy's on the screen right now. So I'll see something and say, "Oh yeah, okay, I have a hot take," because probably nobody has seen these other movies, but I think all the doll films, Indonesian horror from Rocky Soroya, leagues better than all the Conjuring films and Annabelle movies. So much better, it's not even funny. Because if you're into like Asian horror and Indonesian horror, especially, awesome films, especially The Doll 2 and its direct sequel, Sabrina. The first doll's good, but it's very, very similar to Annabelle. There's like one or two scenes that are like directly like ripped from Annabelle or The Conjuring, the first one. Second doll is when he kind of started doing his own thing. But if you ever wished at the end of a Conjuring movie or Annabelle that there was actual stakes and people got like murdered and like shit actually happens and have like a brutal last act, watch those films. Yeah, I like the first two, like I do. I've always liked those. The third one wasn't bad from what I remember. The fourth and fifth one was like not good. Then from there is when it just nosedives for me. Like from like Curse of the Puppet Master onward. All the whole Axis trilogy was fucking awful. But like I said, I have weird taste with movies. There's some movies that I know are terrible and I fucking adore them. Like Mutilator, it's one of my favorite 80s slashers. It's a terrible film, like in almost every way, and I know that. But I love that movie so much, and just for the kills. The kills are some of the best kills in 80s slasher in the Mutilator. and it has just charm to it, and that's like I think another thing, just the stupid 80s sitcom full break theme that'll get stuck in your head forever, the bad acting and stuff, and the characters, they're terribly written, but there's still a little bit of charm to them. There's that weird ass scene from nowhere when the guy wants to see his girlfriend tits. She says, "Go check on the rest." So then, like, he does like a little honky tonk piano starts playing. It speeds up double time. He does like a little bow. It's random as shit, but it's fucking great. Versus other movies that I just look at and pick apart the logic to it, and I just can't get into it. They're too stupid for me. I can see people not liking it. I always liked like this like when I was younger, I was kind of into like the whole story of the Titanic. So I like that aspect of it. The whole romance plot is just whatever. Like anytime I watch, I think it's a fantastic movie, but anytime I watch it, it's just to see the ship sinking and stuff, and just like all the historically accurate stuff, which is not. There's a lot of inaccurate shit, but they do get some stuff right. You never seen a Conjuring film, Cal? The first two are good. The second one I really like, based on the Enfield Poltergeist in England. That one I really enjoy. And Annabelle Creation, the second Annabelle, I really like. Besides that, they haven't been good with all the Conjuring verse sequels. Yeah, it's a crazy hot take. I adore Tarantino. Reservoir Dogs is a fantastic film, but I get it. I always can see people's opinions and their side of it. It's definitely his least or one of his least eventful movies and most dialogue heavy films, which can be very boring for people. Like I can absolutely see that. I know people who hate Pulp Fiction and like a lot of his best films. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I enjoyed for the most part. It's a little long, like that. I can definitely say it's a little long. Inglorious Bastards is, I think, his masterpiece. Just like he says at the end. Oh well, Brad Pitt says at the end of that movie. Yeah, that's a real hot take because I don't agree at all with any of that because it's not my series after like the second movie. The third one is I always have very, very mixed feelings on. I like the dark mood and the atmosphere. Ken Foree is great and everything. I like the lead chick, but nothing really happens in that movie. There's so much that's just in the woods at night in the darkness, and I don't know. There's something about that movie. Just every single time I watch it, I'm saying, "All right, that was all right," and then I just forget all about it, and I forget half the plot and what happens to it every single time. After that, I mean, four, the new generation. I don't know about that one. I used to like it just for McConaughey and Renee Zellweger in early roles, but as I got older, then you just see it for the terrible film that is. That's probably one of my least. No, if I like think about the later ones, all the later films, I do not like at all. After the remake, which I think the remake is one of the greatest slasher remakes. Yeah, that's a hot take, and that's another one I can't agree with either. Halloween 2, actually, when we were talking about this on some stream recently, I forgot who brought it up. I think it was Chris, the slasher guy, but he said the same thing. Hey, what's up, Russell? How you doing, buddy? Happy Saturday. But yeah, he was saying the same thing with Halloween too, and it brought up a whole topic that I just can't. I don't like movies set in hospitals for the most part because again, it's just I don't. It's my mind. I've been watching movies like, and my dad used to do the same thing, and he introduced me to movies like 3, 4 years old. He always used to nitpick the little things in movies and shit, like, why is that glass of water like full in this shot and the next one it's empty and then it's full again? And like, why would this person do this if the car is here and they can? So my whole life, that's how I've watched movies. So to this day, so just some movies I can't help but nitpick the shit out of, and ones that take place in hospitals are one of them. There's no one working at these hospitals. Like, a hospital should never look closed unless it's a condemned, closed down hospital. But there's no staff working. There's like a few nurses. There's no custodial staff anywhere. Oh, and I just get into all that, and it brings it down for me for some reason. It's just my weird quirks. Jackie Brown, though, is fantastic. Django, I like Django. I gotta rewatch. It's been years, but I don't like it compared to his other ones. Kill Bill 1, I love. 2's a little eh, but Kill Bill is great as a whole. Very good. Big O. Yeah, me too. And I've been up for like 3 hours. It's like I drove the other day upstate, like 6 hours. I was exhausted yesterday. I will say the '03 remake is the one I watch the most often compared to the original. Like, if it's between those two, I don't watch the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre as often as the remake. I adore the remake. The beginning, I was like meh on, but when I did a video on it and I rewatched it, I kind of got a little more enjoyment out of it. And just Arlie Ermy being in it again, he's absolutely fantastic, especially in the remake. And that's him. His performance is a big reason why the remake is so good for me. But there's many. I think it's a perfect slasher remake. Same with Maniac with Elijah Wood. That, I think, is one of the greatest remakes ever. Yeah, and that's another thing that comes into opinions too and stuff. Like, I'm sure there's so many people out there that saw Halloween 5 as their first Halloween film, and that's their favorite in the series. And I get it, because that happens to all of us, especially like with music too. The first songs or album you hear by an artist, a lot of the times that's your favorite, just because it's the first one, one you were familiar with first. Hey, what's up, caveman? How you doing, buddy? Happy Saturday, and thank you for that. Yeah, Jackie Brown is fantastic, and that's the only movie that he didn't write. That it was based off of a book. But Robert Forster's fantastic. Pam Grier is amazing as always. It's like his little homage to the whole the black exploitation of the '70s with Pam Grier. I mean, for a director that's so into movies and pretty much, and he said this in interviews many times, that he just straight up steals from other movies, and you and you see it. But it's taken it. But that's the charm of Tarantino, is like, you can tell it's all done in a loving way, and that he loves movies so much that he just has to homage to so many shots and so many different films. So it's kind of like a guess the movie reference in a lot of Tarantino movies. First horror you saw in theaters, nice. And your first date. To liar, take us. That's funny. Yeah, it's so effective, that movie, and just the way they shot. I forget the guy. He was a wrestler, right? Who played Leatherface in that movie, in the remake. The way they frame him and shoot him, he looks so fucking big in that film. Like, he is so intimidating. H2O. I mean, that's another one that I have some nostalgia for, because that was the first Halloween film to come out in theaters when I was over, like by that point, a huge horror fan and Halloween fan. So it has a little bit of nostalgia for me, but over the years, it's went way down. The writing is just bad. Kevin Williamson is all over it, so that's automatically bad for me. Only thing that Williams has ever done that I like is The Faculty, and I'm not even convinced that he wrote that shit. I really don't think he did. There's been speculation on that too. I love The Faculty. Yeah, of course, but you're right. Like people don't want them in, and I don't include it on remakes because it's just I view it more as just a different adaptation of the source material of the story of who goes there. But it's definitely a remake for sure. I just think a lot of people don't consider it one just because it's so different and it's just a masterpiece of a film, like my favorite movie ever. So don't you go bad mouthing the thing, Cal. Love that movie. 13 Ghosts is good. The remake. I haven't seen in a while. Both of them I haven't seen in a long while, but I enjoy both. Yeah, my Wi-Fi is a little iffy, so the episode stops. So this is just like kind of turning into a horror talk. So whatever, it's cool. 2007 remake. I can see it. I like it. For the most part, I like the remake. I love H2, which there's a hot take. And that's another part too. I mean, it's in the franchise, but if you're just talking Rob Zombie's remakes, I love H2. Michael's brutal. The kills are great. It's just a brutal movie, a brutal slasher film. Yeah, Pam Grier is gorgeous and always has been. And Halloween 4, man, you and Joseph should be like best friends. He loves Daniela Harris and he loves Halloween 4. I love the Evil Dead remake. That's another one of my top remakes. Is Evil Dead. I get it. I mean, I know a lot of people who love H2O. Weirdly, a lot of the times, and it makes sense, there are people who are big Scream fans too, which I totally get. Yeah, same. I don't consider The Blob a remake really either, but I think that's more of a remake than The Thing. Like, there's definitely more that's similar, but the effects work. I think it's just the effects that just separate it and just make it its own thing for both of those movies. The practical effects in both those films are like state of the art, best to this day. Lost Boys is a classic that I don't remember at all. I've never been a big fan of, but it's not because of the movie or any reason. It's just one that I never really went back to. Same Frighteners is good. I think I've seen that maybe twice. That would be something to go back. Isn't there a sequel to Frighteners? Isn't there a second one? That would be cool to go back and watch the first and probably first time watch the second. I don't remember ever seeing the second. Really? That's a hot take because I know most people adore the remake. It definitely has a much darker tone than any of the films I think in the series, even the original. But I adore that movie. What a great remake. Not even as a reboot, like which film are you talking about? Like any of the previous ones, I guess. But like if we're talking like The Thing, I don't consider it like a reboot. I just consider it its own. It's The Thing. It's John Carpenter's The Thing, and like the original one is just The Thing from Another World, and it's both based off a short story. That's like how I view it. Like it's just its own. thing. It's not a reboot. It's not a reimagining. It's not any of that for me. The Blob, I can say, is more like that, more of a remake. But I still see where Russell's coming from. What's up, Joe? That's funny, Russ. How you doing, buddy? Happy Saturday. Near Dark is one I haven't seen in a while, but I recently remembered because I did a video on some list and it came up. I need to rewatch that like stat because I remember that being a very good one. And the vampires look sick in that movie. That I do remember. And they're like slaughtering people left and right. That's definitely a good vampire movie. That's not really my subgenre. I don't really care much for too many vampire films. Let the Right One In is, I think, one of the best like modern vampire movies. But that one, yeah, I gotta go back and rewatch that. You stay up in Paris last night? I'm guessing party because that sounds cool. I've never seen it. Yeah, you should check it out, especially if you're an Evil Dead fan, and especially if you like the original Evil Dead more than, especially like if you're not a big fan of Army of Darkness or the show and the more like comedic side of Evil Dead. If you're more a fan of the original and like the just darker Evil Dead, definitely you would probably love the remake. Yeah, the Evil Dead franchise for me is one of the few perfect franchises that's never done me wrong ever. Like everything. I love the original. Evil Dead 2 is one of my favorite movies too. Army of Darkness is fantastic. The TV show is fantastic. The remake's fantastic. Evil Dead Rise is my least favorite, but yeah, whatever. Even if I'm describing a reboot, I just don't look at it that way. I just look at it as a movie. Like, all right, like what's a good? Oh, I was just thinking of Lovecraft stuff earlier because I watched a movie last night about Lovecraft. Like that's Lovecraftian. The Colors, what the hell is it? The Color of Space or something, the Lovecraft story. That film has been adapted a few times. One under that name of the story and another time under a totally different name, but it's still based off that story. So I wouldn't that's how I view it. Kind of like that. Like picture if the thing wasn't picture if they had different names, but they were still based off the same short story. That's how I look at them. Like they're just completely different movies based off the same thing. Even if it sounds like a reboot, like I'm not describing it well, but that's like the best I can. Hey Jay, what's going on, buddy? How you doing? Happy Saturday. Vampire's Kiss is fun. I haven't seen that in a long while too. But I have some people who do not like Army of Darkness at all. Keith Agoraphobe, he hates Army of Darkness. He's not an Army of Darkness fan. He doesn't like the goofy Evil Dead. Yeah, there's a few movies like that for me that, like, especially Candyman is one that always comes to mind. It would be like an 8 out of 10 for me if it wasn't for Philip Glass's score. With his score, it's a fucking masterpiece, and it's a 10 out of 10. There's a few movies like that for me that the score or the soundtrack just absolutely elevates it. I love every Hatchet film. I love every Hatchet. I can't wait to, and it was great when I had Terry Shen on because he's at everywhere. We got to talk a lot of Hatchet in that interview. That was great. And I've talked to Felissa Rose. She said she's interested in coming on. And she said maybe sometime this month. And I'm going to a convention on the 20th in Jersey that she will be at with Adam Green and Kane Hodder. So I cannot wait. Just for that alone. Like, just talk Hatchet and shit. I love all of that. There are a few kills from that series that are in my top kills and horror video I'm working on. I'll probably have that out tomorrow. I have all the kills edited, all the clips and stuff. I just need to like do voiceover stuff for it. But probably like 50 or more kills in that video. Like I really like scraped the barrel. But there are definitely a few with the Hatchet series. Yeah, Live Candyman is just absolutely a masterpiece. That's the only Clive Barker inspired film that really works for me. Like I like the first two Hellraisers, but I'm not a big Hellraiser fan. I don't throw them on often at all. They're not ones that I love. They're good. I like them. I've never seen past like the third one. What's his other few? I can't think of the goddamn name right now. The other one that he did in like the early 80s. That was a Clive Barker movie. Somebody will know it. That doesn't work for me much either. That David Cronenberg is in. I don't know why I can't think of the goddamn name. Love Hatchet with Danielle Harris. Yes, he's great in those in 2 and 3. Yeah, that's. I'm looking forward to hearing back from her, which I pretty much got because I got her to respond because she saw my tweet with the interview with Perry Shannon, and she's in Victor Crowley with him. So that was like my get into her. So hopefully that works out. Oh yeah, I adore that remake so much. That definitely has a few kills in that video coming too. There is, and the original. There's a kill from that also. The kills in the Maniac remake are so goddamn good that I don't even know how they pulled off some of that. Like with the effects work, 'cause I'm big on practical effects, so I always pay attention to them and I always try to figure out how they do them. There's a few that like I'm really not sure like exactly how they pulled them off because they look so goddamn good. Nightbreed, thank you, Liv. I don't know for some reason it was just evading me. That's all right. I hear many horror actresses, directors, same horror film titles over and over again. So it doesn't bother me. I know you love her. Oh, actually, I have seen another one. I just recently watched Revelation, Hellraiser Revelations with Matt Pugwall on his channel because he purposely chose it as a terrible film for us to watch. And he knows I'm not a big Hellraiser fan to begin with. And I couldn't even fucking tell you what happens in that movie. Couldn't tell you a single thing. Blood Night is one that I haven't seen. It's like the first time I saw it. I totally forgot about that movie. And if you can, any from South Park, that would be hysterical. He's not going to say much. He's just going to be the entire time. I don't remember it. That's another one I got to go back and watch. But most of the time, if I don't remember a movie, unless I mean, it could be it's just been so many years since I've seen it, I really just don't remember a lot. And I did enjoy some things. If I don't remember a movie much at all, then it didn't really make that much of an impression on me. But it's definitely one I have to go back and watch again. Yeah, I saw Night Swim. That movie fucking sucked. That movie terrible. Oh, I did not like that. I still got to watch Imaginary from this year, which I also heard is absolute dog shit. Yeah, Kyle, that's I got to try it again also because I know a lot of people love that movie. Yeah, Night Swim was not good. Yeah, I will definitely watch The First Omen because that I hear is fantastic. Like from a few people dropping bomb questions. I don't know how I'm gonna think of that. I know I did a horror remakes, like best my top horror remakes past 2000s. So if you want to check that video out, that has some of those would probably be the answer. But like on the spot, top three from the last 10 years, I wouldn't be able to think of it off the top of my The Empty Man from 2021. There you go. There's one. That's like in my top films list, which hardly anyone saw because COVID with the pandemic, it was released during the height of, and people didn't see it in theaters. And the trailer makes it look like one of those movies like The Bye Bye Man or Slender Man, which it's nothing like. It's like a Lovecraftian horror, psychological fucking masterpiece. Funny, those are all great, and but funny you mentioned Split. I was just watching Split a few nights ago, rewatching that movie. Great movie, and McAvoy's performance is just unreal in that film. Like he's a great actor always, but he kills it in that movie. That's one of the few Shyamalan movies that I really enjoy. Next to The Sixth Sense being, I think, his masterpiece, and he never reached that height again. That was the next best. Split. I like The Visit. The Village is all right, despite it has so much stupid shit in the whole revelation. It makes no sense. I gotta do a video on that just to nitpick that ending apart. And the whole there's no way that that village exists and that they have any chance of shielding those people and the kids from reality that they're living. I don't want to spoil the movie for people who haven't seen it, but none of it makes sense. So we'll do a video on that sometime soon. Invitation was good. That was a very good movie. I didn't like Malignant. That's another one I do have to rewatch, though. I only saw it when it came out. I don't think I saw it again. If I did, I didn't care for it either that time. But the first time I saw it, I remember I did not care for it much. Had a cool ending, like the last 20, 25 minutes of that movie. I remember that being really good. Besides that, I didn't really care for it much, but I need to watch that. Your Next is great. I love Your Next. The Guest, I love even more than Your Next, and that would probably be in my top films of the 2000s. The Guest is such a great movie, and that's not even really a horror movie. You're on the cusp. Yeah, I'm like 25 away, man. Thank you. Yeah, it'll happen. And I've been pushing, and a few of us have Dave's channel because we started around the same time, and he always talked about it and hitting 1,000, and we started around the same time. Me, him, Gareth, Al, stuff like that. So we're pushing his channel. He's already at like 920 something. So hopefully we get his channel to 1,000 too. I have no doubt that we will. Yeah, the soundtrack is fantastic. I did a cover of the one of the pieces of music from it, like in the bar scene, like the fight, like synthesizer thing. So good. Same with Your Next. I did the little synthesizer chase, a little cover of that, which is so fun to play. That's it. Yeah, you can have a bunch of favorites. I got a lot of favorites. Yes, and again, thanks everybody just for all your comments, your thoughts, everything. Just everybody's been so supportive, and that just shows the community that we have, and it's just an amazing one. Clan of Zymox, I listened to back in high school, like a few songs of theirs. So when I first saw The Guest, I recognized was it Another Day. That's a great song, and they have a few good songs. Like hearing them though in it, that was a surprise. Like I did not. It was like a band that I heard in high school. I heard a few songs, including that one, and then it's like I forgot all about them. And then until I saw that movie in 2014, and I said, "Holy shit, Clan of Zymox, man! Like these guys had good taste in music." Yeah, 1 second. I'm gonna probably in this in a few minutes just because no, I'm not watching South Park and and I hear my daughter's up downstairs. So I'll have reviews out on Winnie the Pooh 2 or Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2, whatever the hell you want to call it. That they have like a whole universe now planned for that. The Bambi movie, they have a killer Bambi movie. They have what's the other one? Peter Pan and like one other one that they know, Pinocchio or something like that. So they're doing a whole like universe, and it has like a name now too. I'm looking for that link. There you go, man. There's Dave's channel. I don't know, dude. She's 10. Like, she really doesn't give a shit about YouTube. I mean, she watches stuff on there, but anytime, like, which is not often, but if I bring it up, she says, I don't care. I said, all right. And I'll bring it up every now and then just to check. Just one. Just my daughter. She's 10. She lives upstate with her mom, but we have a house like 40 minutes from there. So my family and I will come up like once a month, month and a half or so, and like spend the week with her. So we got her for there until Tuesday. And she's like a little mini me. So if you can imagine that, but as a girl, that's how she is. She definitely has my quirky personality. But all right, guys, I'm going to go probably play chess. I've taught her chess, right? Because my father taught me chess when I was a kid. So I taught her chess maybe when she was 6. She beats me like fucking 9 out of 10 times. And I'm pretty good at chess. Been playing my whole life. She kicks my ass like almost every time. So I don't know if I just taught her well or if I'm sucking in my middle of life age that I'm surpassing and heading to death. The older parts of life. But yeah, she's all right. Thank you, Liv. You definitely will. Yeah, so yeah, I guess technically I have 2 kids 'cause, yeah, I'm definitely my own kid also. All right, guys, everybody, Caveman, thanks for that. Awesome. Everybody have an awesome Saturday. And yeah, Winnie the Pooh 2, Blood and Honey, or whatever the fuck, Older Gods. And then I feel like watching Pumpkinhead tonight. So probably like a longer, because those will be spoiler free, those last 2. Probably a whole discussion on Pumpkinhead tonight. And then that top horror kills video will be out probably tomorrow. So everyone have a happy weekend, and I will talk to you people soon. Take care, everybody.